Welcome, project leaders. My name is Mark McKelvey, and this is my portion of the Fun Guys project presentation. Stark Industries has recently announced that they would be opening their first international office in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. This facility will have over 300 employees at opening and will require up to 200 workstations set up and ready to go as of day one. This presentation will cover what I've worked on, my lessons learned, my individual strengths and weaknesses on this project, and how the team worked together. Before the project was put on hold due to COVID-19, I was working on the cabling cut sheets, setting up the DCs, the DNS services, Active Directory, network configurations. I installed vCenter, and I completed the WannaCry assignment for the group. Setting up the domain controllers was the first task that I worked on for this project. We created two virtual machines for this project named Magic and Deathcap. These two VMs acted as the primary backup for the Active Directory, the DNS, and the DHCP servers. When working on the Active Directory, I needed to add users, groups, and organizational units in the amount of over 300 individual users. To do this effectively, I used a modified PowerShell script that we had received in our Windows Server class to import all the users at once, as well as assign them to their correct groups and organizational units. When working on the DNS, I was able to have all DNS features fully installed and working, and with DHCP, all services were installed and waiting for configuration. After finishing work on the domain controllers, I moved on to the networking portion of the project. Clayton had originally made a spreadsheet where we updated the ports to where they were hooked up on our routers and switches as we did them. However, this led to a situation where there was no logical pattern to our port assignments. We all realized that we had to concentrate extremely hard on the port sheet to determine which port was connected to which. At this point, we decided to restart the plan from scratch. I rebuilt the port plan while I was creating and working on the network addressing plan and the network configurations. This made everything much easier and way more organized than had originally occurred. Once the configurations were complete, I used Cisco Packet Tracer to build a test network and then make sure all my configurations were working properly before placing them onto the actual routers and switches. As mentioned in the previous slide, I had to rework the entire port plan that we had previously. The previous one was just way too confusing to understand in a quick and efficient manner. What I'm showing you here is the redone port plan that we had for our assignment, just so you can take a look at and see what we kind of ended up with at this point. The last two things that I worked on were the installation of vCenter on our King Trumpet server, as well as the WannaCry assignment. Originally, I wasn't assigned the installation of vCenter, but due to some issues we were having with the imaging templates for our clients, Ben asked if I would be able to install vCenter so we could avoid a bottleneck for other services that we needed to work on. I did go through with this installation with some problems, which I will detail later, but at the end we got it installed with no other problems. The WannaCry assignment was one of 3 assignments handed to us that we needed to complete by the end of the project. The other 2 were completed by the other 2 group members, and I handled the WannaCry assignment, which had to deal with the ransomware program known as WannaCry and how to prevent against it or to protect yourself or recover if you were infected. While working on this project, I definitely had a few lessons that I learned throughout. The first of which is that installing programs and services is not always smooth and easy. While installing vCenter onto our server, I encountered an error where approximately 3/4 of the way through the process, the program would error out and the installation would fail. Normally, you would just restart the installation and you would go about your way. However, installing vCenter can take upwards of 3 hours, and this can really put you behind schedule. We hadn't allotted this time as it was already being done by myself to avoid a bottleneck. What we ended up doing is having to go through the installation again. It did work at this end, but I was learned a lesson in which you need to allow time into your schedule for any errors or failures. Similar to this, if you're stuck in a problem, asking for assistance earlier rather than later is definitely a benefit. While working on my network configurations, I was having a tough time to determine what exactly I was needing to do and how I was needing to do it. I was waiting on this for a day or two before I finally asked for help, and once I asked for help, I was able to get through this problem in no time. So in the future, lessons learned from this would be to go through and ask for help as soon as possible. Another lesson learned is the improving having excellent communication in regards to the weekly status updates was definitely something we didn't do as well as we needed to. There were numerous occasions where the wrong assignment was pulled because we had a lack of communication as who to submit those status updates. As mentioned previously, having to rework the documentation plan for our port assignment, having easy to understand documentation is vitally important as well. Working on this assignment, I was definitely able to identify several key strengths that I have. Identifying priority tasks, managing issues and problems, and assisting other team members. When I was identifying priority tasks, it was very helpful that we could then identify which tasks could potentially cause bottlenecks for our project going forward. Identifying these tasks and planning the other tasks around when they were to be completed allowed us to efficiently manage our project and make sure it was done on time in regards to the guidelines that we were given. This leads into managing issues and problems. When, when managing issues and problems, it's most important that you don't compound the problem that's already occurring. By effectively and calmly identifying what the problem is or the issue and how to fix it, and then rescheduling other items around it, or assigning other people or assigning yourself to work on these problems so they get done so as not to cause a bottleneck for other tasks is a very, very important skill to have. This also then comes to assisting other group members. I love group projects. I love working with other people. It's the way I work best. I feel this is a strength in me because of how much I love it, as well as I am more than happy to have other group members assist me, as well as me assist them, as is the best way that I learn. And I view this as a strength for any project. We can't talk about strengths without talking about some individual weaknesses as well. Going through this project, I definitely was able to identify several weaknesses that I have that I definitely want to improve on going forward. The first of which is my communication in regards to the weekly reporting. We identified problems that we had with our weekly reporting where they weren't getting done on time. Myself in particular, I felt that I didn't always update the other group members when I completed my work on these weekly reports, and therefore we didn't know which file would have been the one to upload to the instructors or if it was another version. This led to some confusions in our weekly reporting, which I feel we can work on as well as myself work on to get better going forward. I also felt that sometimes I waited too long to seek assistance for problems I was having, specifically in regards to some of the networking items. I feel that if I would have asked some questions sooner, either of other classmates, group members, or the instructors, I would have been able to work past these problems a lot sooner than if I waited as long as I did. This then infected my own following of my personal work plan. By not seeking the assistance as soon as I should have, I was not able to follow my personal work plan as closely as that I would like, and I was also then potentially distracting myself with other items to work on rather than following my own personal plan. By fixing these or correcting these items going forward, I feel I can address these weaknesses and really build from them. Since this is a team project, I thought I should talk about our team. Our team, the Fun Guys, worked very, very well together. We divided the tasks between us in a very efficient manner and made adjustments as necessary. Teammates were always there to help whenever you needed, whether no matter what it was, no matter what the issue, always there to help. We communicated great while we were in class. We made sure everyone knew everything what was going on if we weren't going to be there, or if any changes or something was going to happen that were going to affect anybody else, we always let them know. Besides the status reports, I felt like our communication was great as a result. All of our work was completed and submitted to our Google Drive folder so everyone had access to it. This way, if someone wasn't there or if anyone was wanting an update or needing to know some information about what another person was working on, it was available for you to have at all times. Wrapping this all up, I really felt that as a team, we worked together and we got the project done as much as we could. Unexpected events happen, as in the case we had COVID-19, pretty much stop our project in our tracks. I still say there's lots left to learn, as you're never done learning on things, and especially with this project, I feel like I've scratched the surface, but there's definitely more I can take from working on a project like this. That being said, I do have immense pride in what we accomplished together, and I am very, very, very proud of the work we did as a team. Thank you for spending some time with me today to go over my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, again, thanks so much, and you guys have a great day.